Hello everybody, my name's Tim Smith from Flying Fish Water Sports and welcome to the Performance Coaches Mentorship Programme for Dragon Boat. Over the last 10 years I've had the chance to work with a full range of Dragon Boat crews, from international athletes, national squad crews, breast cancer teams, all sorts of community and club teams, and really all points in between. And during that time I've had the chance to work with some of the world's finest coaches. So what we've done now is we've packaged that knowledge, those skills and that understanding of the sport together into this program so we can deliver for you the best possible training and make you the best possible coach you can be in 2021 and beyond. Because dragon boating is a big team activity, much of our coaching and training really focuses on the larger groups and what I call volume training. However, I think the time is right and the opportunity now exists to really focus in on the individual requirements. What motivates the individual coach and what their specific needs and requirements are. So this program is about one-to-one training and one to small groups, low ratio, so we can really understand the motivation and make it customized, specific and tailored to the individual. To that end, I've developed a 5-stage process that I call BLAST. It will quite literally be like rocket fuel. It will launch, accelerate and propel you into the next dimension and onto the next level of your individual dragon boat coaching career. However, we'll be working with you every step of the way, hand in hand. So we're not going to fire you off and forget about you. Have no fear about that. Please do stay till the end of the free webinar training. It is absolutely packed full of great information and you will be a better coach in 30 minutes time. At the end there's a registration process and I look forward to talking to you again on our free strategy session where you can really get together and discuss and design an individual customized coaching program for you. Thank you. Let's launch into the program. So the Performance Coaching Mentorship Program for Dragon Boats. Excellence is the bottom line. It's a subject I am passionate about and I'm enthusiastic and excited to be presenting this program and have the opportunity to work with inspired and motivated people like you on a one-to-one and a one-to small group basis. Let me just touch a little bit, a light dusting of philosophy. Excellence. Well, what is excellence? It's an aiming point. We may not actually achieve it, but the higher you climb, the better the view. So that's the point we're moving towards, both excellence in ourselves and excellence in those we aim to inspire, aim to teach. So it's all about aiming high. And Aristotle, the philosopher, ancient Greek philosopher, said, excellence is not an act, but a habit. And you are what you repeatedly do. So we spend some time on the main program examining, discussing and understanding people's motivations, their aspirations, what inspires them, and also what they perceive their limitations, barriers and constraints to be. And these are perceived barriers and also in some occasions real barriers. It's only when you understand these perceptions and the realities that you can begin to unlock both the potential in yourself as a coach and then go on to unlock and inspire those people you are yourself coaching or training. So that's why some time spent on this is well invested. As I say, all about unlocking potential. One more quote before we move on, and that's from the Temple of Apollo in Delphi. In short, know yourself, know your limitations, don't make promises you can't keep. This is about keeping things realistic. So it's about enabling and certainly not limiting people. So if you believe it, and you've heard this before, you can achieve it. If you believe it, you really can become it. But you need that firm foundation, that understanding of yourself, what you can and can't do at this time and maybe in the future before you move on to inspiring and achieving and motivating other people. So who actually takes part in dragon boating? Who does the sport? Just have a look at the maths or look at the numbers for a few minutes. The myths, the legends and the traditions of dragon boating take it back 2,300 years, about the same time that Aristotle lived, albeit in ancient Greece. The modern sport itself only dates back to 1991 and the formation of the International Dragon Boat Federation in Hong Kong. The IDBF is one of two main governing bodies in the world in terms of dragon boating. The other is the International Canoe Federation, the ICF, and they have dragon boating as a section of their activities. But the IDBF has more than 72 nations involved in dragon boating. This increases year on year. 70,000 people take part in the UK, to use one example. And this is not just high-level international competitions, it's community racing, festival racing, all sorts of activities through societies. 300,000 in Europe, millions, literally millions in Asia. I've seen it mentioned 50 million, a huge number, certainly in China and the Far Eastern countries. The Club Crew World Championships in 2018, one example in Szeged in Hungary, had 6,200 participants from 42 different countries. It is quite a big deal. Now, all of these people need good quality coaching. And if not you, who is going to do this? And if not now, when is it going to take place? So there's an opportunity for you just based on the numbers. So you see there are a huge number of people involved in the sport of dragon boating at all sorts of different levels, not just international performance, national level, club level, participation, recreational, festivals. And there is a requirement for all of those people to get good quality coaching. It is amazing that a vast majority of countries do not have their own integrated, comprehensive coaching scheme. So here's me, Tim Smith. I'm an international performance coach. I was the GB Premier Coach for 5 years up until 2017. I'm now the GB Senior A Coach. That's for over 40-year-old athletes. I'm a level 4 qualified coach in the UK and Cyprus. I've just had the opportunity and the ongoing opportunity to help the Cyprus Federation in revising and rewriting their accreditation scheme for coaches, also their water safety policy and safe paddling policy. I'm a level 3 personal trainer, and I have a personal commitment to ongoing professional development and staying in contact with the learning process myself as a student. So I'm doing my level 4 qualification and also other areas of coaching qualification. I'm a level 2 coach in the US under a US Dragon Boat Federation scheme, and I've also been a national team athlete at GB Premier, Senior A and Senior B, that's over 50 level. I have a company that's based part in the UK and part in Paphos in Cyprus, and I'm a retired British police inspector. You know, it's during some time spent in the CID as a detective that I got really involved in both psychology and also motivation. And I also spent some time in a specialist training area that took me to involvement in the Olympics, and that's really where I got involved in the coaching process and also the coaching development process. And I retired a few years ago with an exemplary record, I'm very proud to say. I have, I think, a number of unique selling points. One is my unlimited enthusiasm, and the second is a commitment to go that extra mile and deliver a result. Okay, then I'm going to give you the detail on the blast system in a short while, but just suffice to say at this point in time, it's a 5-step system. It has 5 components which are interrelated and complementary. But how will it affect you? How will it improve you? How will it benefit you? And when? Well, you will be a better coach. You'll have a more comprehensive understanding of the coaching process. You'll become more innovative, more interactive and inventive with your coaching and coaching strategies. And we're going to provide you with the strategies to do that right here and right now. So you're going to benefit right from the get-go just by completing this webinar training. I strongly believe this program will improve your understanding of coaching, of the art of coaching, and give you strategies to develop your people to reach their potential. That's actually the most frequent feedback I get from the coaching I do, about the time it takes to really get into the fabric of coaching and the coaching process. It's a bespoke course, so we'll be working specifically directly with you. Normally it will take something in the region of 10 to 12 weeks, but because it's individual, it may take slightly less, it might take slightly longer. It depends on you, and we'll work with you at your pace. Of all the gin joints in all the towns in all the world, you walk into mine. Let me talk a little bit about my commitment to you, what brings me here, and I suspect what may bring you here as well, and what you need to know. That might be you there, a despondent looking Humphrey Bogart, Casablanca, 1942, but no reason at all to be despondent, because help, assistance is at hand. My commitment to you is absolute, and I'll be delivering the very best I can to get you to be the best possible coach you can be and realize your potential. I'll take a very close interest in you, working with you every step of the way, and I will ensure that you understand every process that we discuss before we move forward. I will be delivering what you need. Now, good coaching and great technique both take time. So we'll take the time to deliver what you need to achieve. But this is not a run-of-the-mill or a conveyor belt course. It's worth bearing that in mind. It's specialized, it's customized, exclusive, and it's personal. It's focusing on the one-to-one and the one-to smaller groups. We will do volume training as before, group training in other parts of our program, but this is probably not the particular program for that. Now, concerns. Do you have any concerns? So you want to get ahead, but you don't know how to get started. You know where you want to end up, but you don't quite know how to get there. I know, I've been there, I've thought what you're thinking, and the chances are I've been frustrated by the same things that are frustrating you right now. And that's why I wrote this program. Imagine you're standing on the edge of a volcanic crater, lava bubbling away below you. Every now and again, a mass of flaming lava leaps up in front of you. You can stay where you are. At best, nothing will change. At worst, you may just have to take a big step back to avoid getting burned. Or you can navigate a course up, over or around the hazards and forge ahead with new knowledge and new confidence. Now, how does that sound to you? Do you have any concerns? Well, I'll be very surprised if you didn't. Everybody suffers from lack of confidence and concerns at one time or another, myself included. Putting this whole process together, this program together, will I get a return on any investment? Is this the right time? Is there going to be any uptake? You still have to forge ahead, gather your senses and move forward into the future, even though that future might be uncertain. But if not you, who? If not now, when? Now, I suspect, is the time to think about the future and move ahead with confidence. Very often we say to people, and we hear from people, do you have enough time? They say they have not enough time. They have not enough hours in the day. Their schedule is too busy. Well, part of this process is to identify those gaps in the system, the time when we can get together and work through the program. Will it be value for money? Will you get a return on your investment? Well, there's a cost involved, but my commitment is to deliver as higher quality product and give you the best value for money that I can. You might have found in your current coaching or paddling career, you've plateaued and do not know where to go next. Well, here is a great opportunity for you. Very often we hear about people saying they're fearful, they have lack of confidence, lack of knowledge, lack of understanding, lack of progress. Well, here we are to deliver some options for you. You might be dissatisfied or even frustrated with your current situation, lack of ability to move forward, want to move forward, but the opportunities don't exist. You may not actually feel you are in control of that process. But guess what? We're here to give you that trust, give you that confidence in the system, confidence in yourself, and dispel fear. Fear, after all, is only future expectations appearing real. And guess what? Knowledge dispels fear. Okay, then here we go. Let's get into the specifics of the training. But first, imagine this. You came on a course and you were asked why you ought to be a coach, and you say, I want to make the world a better place and I want to help people. Fantastic. And then we say, let's talk about my experiences from way back when, and we'll talk about a notional team achieving notional objectives. Fantastic. You may cover the basic points, but you're not going to build a firm foundation, a baseline on which to launch yourself into a quality coaching career. What is required is a detailed analysis of the systemic and systematic method of coaching. We're going to look into your role and responsibilities as it relates to your team and really do a detailed examination of what it takes to be a great coach. I call it the 7 pillars of great coaching. Tools in your toolbox, weapons in your armory. It's all about clearing the ground under your feet, understanding what your starting point is, what the resources, the tools, the opportunities you have, so you can maximize them and optimize them. We'll spend time talking about learning styles, what motivates people, how people learn, and also how people teach, because we would have a learning style, and very often we would teach to our preferred learning style if we're not careful about it. We'll carry out a thorough needs analysis for your individuals and your crews rather than a notional team, and we'll go into some detail about unlocking performance by understanding motivation, aspirations, and really what drives people forward and sometimes holds people back in terms of their barriers. So what drives you, the what, the why, and the how of coaching is vitally important. We'll have a look at the pitfalls, the challenges, and the compromises. We'll talk about situations you faced, maybe situations I've faced by way of example, and explain and understand and discuss those as we progress. We'll be talking about detailed specifics all the time. We'll be exploring solutions, and only once when we've got this thorough understanding and appreciation of what the role and responsibilities are, can we then start making those single steps which combined will become giant leaps in good time. Strand number 2 is about legitimate planning. I'm not explicitly talking about legality here, even though legality is vitally important. I'm rather referring to the second meaning of the word, and that being sound, solid, and authentic planning. But firstly, what sort of coach are you? Are you inspirational? Do you plan to be an enforcer? Are you authoritarian, democratic, or laissez-faire? Is that your style? Or are you really planning to have a multifaceted, multi-layered approach to your training? And if you are, that's going to require some detailed understanding and forward planning. But imagine you came on a course and I just explained the fundamentals of goal setting, target setting, SMART objectives, how to build training plans, how to put training plans together, maybe told you a little bit about my own future plans, maybe about how I put training plans together in the past. Is that really going to work for you? You're going to score the try, you're going to get the basic fundamentals, but you're not really going to convert the goal. So really, on this course, we're going to talk about the focused and the authentic specifics, giving credibility and realism. Because after all, quality plans lead to motivated people. And quality planning motivates and inspires people. What you're aiming to do is achieve buy-in from your individuals and from your team. Because after all, your team is made up of individuals, real human beings who have real feelings, real understandings, and real emotions. So we will be talking about goal setting. We'll talk about outcome goals, process goals, performance goals, explaining the difference, explaining where they fit in, explaining target setting, obviously SMART targets, as we're all familiar with, and being flexible about how you implement those plans and those targets. Revising, reviving if they've fallen flat, progressing and regressing where necessary. Ensuring buy-in and maintaining buy-in and engagement is, after all, what it's all about. So we'll be talking about multi-level training plans and multi-layered training plans that work for your individuals and your teams. This will build meaningful empowerment of your crews, build trust and confidence, and therefore solve a whole range of problems and propel your team to its optimum performance and the next level, whatever that might be. It's about enabling, identifying, and meeting the challenges that are in front of you, building trust, confidence, and rapport, realistic goals that deliver for realistic teams. And if you're going to be leaping over any craters filled with molten rock or lava anytime soon, you need a firm footing in order to do that. You need that firm baseline on which you're going to build those training plans, and you also need a sturdy compass so you know which direction you're going in, and if you need to change course, you do so with a compass in one hand and a rear view mirror in the other, so you can make sure your team is with you as you make those various pivots and changes, which are the stock in trade of modern coaching. Strand number 3 is the analytical approach and the time, effort, and energy you're going to need to put into developing your crew and analysing their performance, analysing and measuring their performance. People say the devil is in the detail. Sherlock Holmes himself would be proud. I prefer to say measurement really is about management. So what can be measured can be managed, what can be measured can be understood, and what can be measured can ultimately be mastered. So it's certainly not just a case of producing a handout, giving you a few lines on stroke rate monitors, cadence monitors, heart rate monitors, video recording, stopwatches, low-tech and high-tech solutions. It's about really going into some detail about unique and team-specific solutions. One example, video. If you implemented video without being sensible and sensitive, it could very easily be counterproductive. Reason being, if you just get some high-tech equipment, record some video, maybe via a drone, show it publicly, and then people end up getting ostracized, picked upon, and really it becomes completely counterproductive, and you could end up ultimately destroying some of the fabric of the team. So when we're using these various analytical tools, it's not just a case of fault finding. If you tell somebody 10 good points and 1 developmental or improvement point, they'll remember the improvement point and not the 10 good. So it's all about fault checking as opposed to fault finding. Fundamental difference. And also identifying the GBH of training. What am I talking about? What's good? What can be better? And how? So it's a whole analysis of the good, the bad, and sometimes the ugly as well. Let's be honest about that. It's about a systematic approach. But whatever method you're using, be it high tech or low tech, you need to be confident in its implementation, methodical, have good attention to detail, be diligent, and above all, be enthusiastic about 1, its implementation, and 2, the gains that you're likely to achieve. So any measurements you take have got to be linked to your process goals, your outcome goals, and your performance goals, as well as any benchmarking you're doing, and ultimately training plans and the delivery of all of those. They're tools in your toolbox. Some are position tools, some are adjustable, because you need to sort of be very flexible in the way, because not one size necessarily fits all. The way you implement a particular analytical approach may be different for, say, for example, a breast cancer team, a premier national team, various adaptabilities or adaptions for age, youth, para paddlers, and all sorts of variations in relation to mobility impairments, other impairments, and all manner of issues that need due analysis and understanding. So these methods, measurement and targets need to be seen through a lens of an appropriate analytical approach. Real solutions, in other words, for real people. Imagine this, you go down to your club on a nice warm summer evening, the light is beautiful, you jump in the boat, you have a briefing, you turn the boat over, you capsize, part of a pre-planned drill. It goes wrong, it goes right, you make loads of mistakes, everyone has a good time, everyone comes back safely, and you don't record and revise any of the skills that you've learned previously, you don't capture any lessons learned, and you come back again next year and do the same. Does that sound familiar? All too often, this is the case. You talk about a swimming test, people don't actually do a swimming test, they do a self-certification. Yes, I can swim 50 meters, but you never actually test anybody. Does that sound familiar? Well, let's get serious about safety by design and not by accident. So leading by being proactive. So safety is about proactive prevention, and I take it really seriously. I like health, welfare and safety because it keeps people healthy, their welfare in order, and it keeps them safe. Now, to a sensible degree, because clearly if you're that concerned about safety, you'd never go out if you think about it. So you need to pitch it at the right level, and I think people do really appreciate it. All too often, as I sort of alluded there, it's led by the capsize, and yet the best way to deal with a capsize, well, what is the best way to deal with a capsize? Surely it's not to have one, it's to have the skills and practice the precursor skills and drills that lead up to capsize. You need to know how to deal with that if that event happens, but you also need to know how to prevent it. So in the last few years, I don't actually teach capsize anymore. I teach capsize prevention. It has capsize at the end of it, but you see the emphasis is on the prevention and the skills and drills you could learn to stop the boat going over in the first place. Okay, all too often also I've worked in countries, territories where they don't actually do capsize or safety at all. They just sign waivers like as if that's a get out of jail free card, which it's not. Or they say, well, people come out in my boat and it's not really my responsibility. Well, guess what? 22 people in the boat, 22 at the extreme, lives at stake. If you're the boat captain, you're the coach, you have responsibility for them. So you need to discharge that responsibility. Whenever you go out on the water, there's going to be a residual risk that you cannot reduce to zero. So on this course, on this program, we'll give you the skills, the understanding, the knowledge on how to reduce that risk, how to minimize and mitigate it to a sensible and acceptable level. We will give you skills and understanding on dealing with persons overboard. If somebody ends up in the water, dealing with waves, dealing with wave patterns, how you modify the configuration and displacement of the boat in order to get out on the water in slightly rougher weather when maybe you otherwise would have cancelled the session. Usable skills that will keep your people safe, happy, and increase their range of paddle skills at the same time. If you need help in writing risk assessments, safe paddling policies, water safety policies, well, we do that as well. And we're very, very happy to help out if that is what is required. Safety is really important in the blend, in the mix of what goes into making you a top quality coach. We'll give you that method, the logical method of instruction, and teach you some options how to make safety fun, informative, and interesting. It really is important, because if it's not those three things, then you might find that when you plan a session, people are less keen, more reluctant to turn up. So skills, drills, and guess what? A lot of the safety drills I'm talking about are paddle skills as well. And the more adept people are at paddling the boat, using the paddle to control the boat, the better crew, the safer crew, the more competent crew you have. After all, how many rudders do you have in a dragon boat? Answer, up to 21. Everyone with a paddle in their hand has some ability to assist you, control, and therefore keep the boat safe if you are the boat captain or the helm. Last point, touched upon it previously. A fast boat is a happy boat, and a happy boat is a fast boat. A safe boat is a happy boat, and a happy boat is a safe boat. Teams appreciate it, and it's not uncommon for people to approach me afterwards and say, thank you very much, you really kept us safe. And they do appreciate you taking the time to invest in their safety, making their activity on the water as safe and enjoyable as possible. You're taking responsibility for people, and they appreciate it. Have you heard the news? Technique is free speed. Well, it's not quite free, because you need a hell of an investment in time, effort, and energy to get anywhere near the free speed aspect of what we're talking about here. Now, imagine if I just said to you, come on my course and I'll give you a range of drills, away you go, and gave no opportunity to explanation or really depth understanding. Remember, we're coaching here, we're not dictating. So we really need some feedback from you, so you really understand and get really into the fabric of what we're trying to teach, and the whys and the wherefores. So it is true, good technique does take time, takes time in effort and understanding, and investing in your understanding of the stroke, body mechanics, paddle mechanics, and some physiology and some psychology as well. All these are key components. So it's very much the democratic rather than the authoritarian style we're aiming towards. And talking about aim, it's a precision fit. We're going for a specific aiming point, but not one technique fits everybody. The basics of the technique of how the body works normally in normal circumstances will be the same. However, we need to take account of the individuality and the adaptations, and take account, for example, for age, for flexibility, agility, mobility, athleticism, and fitness. These will all play a part. Also youth, also various para-paddlers, breast cancer paddlers may have upper body compromises we need to take into consideration. All cancer survivors, just the same, and mobility impaired athletes will clearly be mobility impaired and need to have individual adaptations put into place, tested and adjusted for them. So we are talking about future water, but that future water point may change depending on the athlete, depending on the team. Not one size or one technique specific fits everybody. Inspiration, orientation, perspiration. So we inspire, we inform, we educate, we orientate, we show the how and the why and the where, and then we put it under pressure, apply the perspiration, because If you don't put the technique under pressure, then you won't know whether it works in either the race discipline or when the athlete is working to their optimum or their maximum. If it doesn't work the first time, second time, 100th time, we need to readjust, revisit. So technique is also about not just investment, but continual reinvestment through your life as a coach and the paddler's career in your team or in your crew. Last point in terms of that is tribute act. We are not training you, we're not coaching you to become a tribute act. We're coaching you to become an authentic coach who can see and solve your own solutions. We'll give you a range of options, but we don't just want you to replicate what we are doing here. We want you to use what we provide you with if it suits your purposes, but also have the capacity to devise and define your own solutions to coaching problems and challenges as well. At the end of this process, at the end of this program, you'll be recognized, trusted, and confident. Confident not just in your own ability, but able to inspire the confidence in your crew, in your team, that you, one, know the business of coaching, and two, can confidently deliver it. By that way, you will deliver, you'll instill trust and confidence in your crews as well. Accreditation. If you need to be accredited, we can accredit you under my own scheme, the Flying Fish scheme. I'm also accredited myself to deliver training under the British Dragon Boat Association scheme, both in the UK and abroad. And I can also accredit you under the Cyprus Dragon Boat Federation scheme as well. So if accreditation is what you need, we can deliver that. As time goes on, I'm looking to become accredited in more countries and territories and provide more options to you as well. But what comes next? There's Socrates again, contemplating. An unexamined life is not worth living. An unexamined paddle stroke is not worth paddling. But don't contemplate for too long. We need to use the BLAST protocol, the BLAST system, to launch you into the next stage of your coaching career. So what's next? Please do take action. Check your diary. See what time you've got in the near future. Fill in our questionnaire. This will help me to put together a detailed idea of what your individual needs are, and do book a strategy session. That's a fairly short conversation, maybe 40 minutes, maybe 60 minutes, so we can get into the fabric of what you need and put together an individualized, customized program of training for you. The best way to get ahead is to get started, according to Mark Twain. According to me, for what it's worth, the best way to get started is indeed to get started. Now, at the end of this process, at the end of the program, like I say, we're not just going to leave you to fend for yourself. We'll be there every step of the way, hand in hand, after the program as well. And we have the Flying Fish alumni scheme. This is a support network of coaches with a like and similar mindset who've completed our training. And it's a forum where we can share ideas and best practice. We'll be putting together periodical events and symposiums where we can bring people together to discuss what they know themselves, what they've learned, how they've developed. And it's all about passing on updates and new innovations as they develop in the sport as well. I hope you enjoyed our free webinar training and found it both interesting and informative. Please do get in contact, and I very much look forward to working with you in the near future. Thank you.